Hi, welcome back to my channel. So I'm doing another book review. As some of you may know, I've been slowly making my way through the Harry Potter series. And although I've seen the movies and technically I have read the books once before, quite a few years ago, I have been going through them yet again just to sort of revamp my memory. I'm gonna compare, I'm very bad at this, but I'm gonna compare basically what I've read to what I've seen in the movie. And as I said in the last video, there is no comparison. You basically take the two concepts and split them because there are very little similarities between the book and the movies now. Now that I've gotten into book 5, the Harry Potter and Order of the Phoenix, I have a couple of different books, a couple different covers, but I really love the cover of this just as a sidebar. I think it's very pretty. Um, anyway, so, we're into his 5th year at Hogwarts, and he arrives, and, it starts off with the attack of the Dementors, and, right off the bat, I'm finding while, again, the main events may have been similar to the movies, but there are so many things that they changed. And while I understand they were trying to keep it short because they didn't know how well the audience would take to the movie, so they tried to keep things short. I really think that going on from like the 4th book on, they should have done the same thing they did with the 7th movie, where it was split into two. They got away with it with Lord of the Rings and Twilight and a few of the other ones. I don't see how they couldn't have gotten away with Harry Potter, allowing them to put more in. But with that aside, they could have done a shorter story and still kept to fact. I know they had to change some things to make it work, but I still think that, for example, in the movie, they don't actually ever fully explain how the Dementors end up attacking Harry in the beginning of the movie, him and Dudley. They just assume that it was Voldemort that sent them, when actually it was Professor Umbridge who confesses it in the book. Not something you would have ever known based on just the movie. So you almost have to watch the movie and read the book to put everything together as a collaboration to fully get everything that's going on. Unless, of course, you just read the books, in which case you're good to go. But if you watch the movie, you almost have to read the book to understand what's going on behind the scenes. They didn't have to change things to make the movie work, but they did. For example, although when Fred and George leave the school, I love it how they exited it in the movie with the fireworks and the dragon chasing Umbridge in the middle of their exam times during the OWLs. But there was nothing wrong with how the book did it either. They exited Hogwarts in a similar fashion, but in a different time frame. They didn't do it during an exam or anything like that. They just basically said see ya, and they took off in the way that the Weasleys would have done so. They didn't show any of the pranks that they had done going on, filling the hallway with swamp. There's just a lot of events and things that they could have included, and they didn't. And I kind of wish they would have. Even down to how they describe or how they portray Sirius or Cyrus, however you want to pronounce it. They make him seem a little bit more lighthearted and warm in the movie, when that doesn't quite jive with the fact that he spent 13 years in Azkaban. He should have been darker and a little bit more basically how he was portrayed in the book. In the book, he is not nearly as warm as the movie portrays. He's darker. He's got you can feel the scars and bruises that he has that he earned, I guess, while in Azkaban for those years as he was put in prison for something he didn't do. They're just the way the whole thing, there's a lot that doesn't get explained. Even going back to the beginning of the book again, how he goes through the Dementor attack, and then he eventually ends up back in the house, and then this owl after owl after owl comes up. And I wish they would have included small bits like that, because it allows some humor into places where it might have been a little dark, so it broke it up a little bit. So and then the Screech Owl, they never really explain why Harry has to stay with the Dursleys when he could have gone home with Ron easily. as he's somewhat been adopted by his parents. So they don't really explain that in the movie either. It's not until you get toward the end of the fifth book that you fully understand the whole blood pact thing and the curse and everything else, and that his aunt actually agreed to take it on. But you don't actually know that unless you read the book, because it is basically not mentioned whatsoever in the movie. So when you're comparing them, it's apples to oranges. Like, the differences are phenomenal. I really, really enjoyed the book. I got into the book more than I thought I would. Harry is perceived definitely darker in the book than in the movie. He's way more moodier. He's a bit more shut off. Same thing with Snape. The relationship between Snape and Harry are so darker and so much meaner, if you will, in the book than it is in the movie. Like, they just, I feel like they could have done better in the movies. Don't get me wrong, I love the movies. I think they were a great movie to watch. But I still think that they could have done the book better, or better justice to the book. I think that they could have portrayed the characters better and stuck to more of the book without having to necessarily have every single detail in there. That way the movie isn't so long. I really think they could have done a better job in the end. But once again, that's my opinion, my thoughts. So for those who don't agree, that's okay. Anyway, that was sort of my thoughts and opinions on the fifth book, and I am really looking forward to diving into the events of the sixth. However, I'll be taking a small break from that just so that I can get through the book club read, and then I will have a video on that soon as well. So thank you again so much for watching. If you are a new viewer, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for when a new video comes up. If you are an existing subscriber, thank you so much for coming back to watch, and I will see you in the next video.